friends, and welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark,
And I'm Midge Munster.
and we have talked about a variety of horror and spooky movies on this podcast. A lot of them, I think, summon really autumnal vibes. Obviously, makes sense, the spookiest time of year. But there is one movie that always feels right for spring and summer to me. And my feelings on that were confirmed, with an unexpected TikTok trend last year. So let's talk about practical magic today.
Yay! Oh, I'm so happy.
Yay! Oh my gosh, that's what I had. I had thoughts next, but I thought I already knew. I thought I already knew your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I love this movie, and I had the distinct pleasure of showing it to Devin and Andrew for the first time
Yes,
a
I
few months ago.
remember that. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, this is actually one of the earliest, witch-related films I remember watching other than Hocus Pocus. I
Ooh.
saw that this is one of the few spooky adjacent films that I saw very young, and I have deep affection for this film.
Yes, I am a newer comer to this. I don't think I saw this until after college.
Oh wow.
Maybe, yeah. It is a favorite of my friend Cindy, and she was like, "I can't believe you've never seen Practical Magic. Like it's so up your alley. We got to watch it." And we did, and she was right, and I loved it.
What I mean, literally, what's not to like? Every aspect of it is mwah.
Well, we'll see as we go into this. Practical Magic came out in 1998, and hilariously, it was released on October 16th. So in spooky season, like in comparison to Silence of the Lambs coming out on Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day.
So I think that's really funny that this is like kind of the one kind of like witchy movie that I really don't think of as like an autumn movie. And it
Right.
is the one that came out. They were like, oh, we should put this out in October, probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the film doesn't have a particularly autumnal vibe, even
No.
inside of the film itself.
Hmm. Yeah, and so it is based on a book, but I have not read the book, and it sounds like it's really not similar at all.
As someone who has read the book, you are correct. Yeah, it's not. I mean, the very base story is the same. The very base, but
Yeah.
a lot of liberties were taken. Yes.
Yes. So for those who are unfamiliar with this, just a quick Cliff's Notes. The movie is about two sisters, Sally and Jillian Owens, who are played by Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
Hot.
Fabulous.
So beautiful.
So beautiful. They are descended from a long line of witches, and way back in the day, their ancestor placed a curse on their family when her lover didn't come rescue her, that any man they love will die, which seems like a tough thing to put on yourself. Like, I feel like you're punishing yourself here for this dude's misdeeds.
Yeah, the way it's presented in the film, though, I don't remember exactly how they phrase it, but that it's to protect them from dying of a
Yeah.
broken heart, I think, is what the concept is. So it's less about the man dying, it's just that the curse is more that an Owens woman will never fall in love, and so then the accidental happenstance of that curse is that if they do fall in love, the love is removed.
Hmm.
It's like when you know how witch movies are always like, if you aren't careful how you word a spell, whoopsie doopsie, you zombies.
Very true. Very
That's,
true.
yeah, so I think it's more of oops, I accidentally killed a bunch of men.
Yeah. You know how it goes. So this movie starts with them as little girls coming to live with their eccentric aunts, played by Stalker Channing and Diane Weiss.
Stalker
So
Channing.
iconic.
Stalker Channing.
So good.
I aspire to be Stalker Channing in this film.
Oh my god, right? Like, yeah, the ants you want to be the ants. They are the
Queen
best.
energy. I mean, Diane Weiss also is incredible, but
Yes.
having been a musical kid growing up,
Oh yeah.
I already was in love with Stockard Channing, and then there she was being a witch in a big old house, and I couldn't handle it.
I know, right? And the film also jumps to adulthood, and then we have to deal with, adult problems like raising your kids and abusive boyfriends and being possessed by your abusive
I
boyfriend.
hate when that happens.
And yeah, all the regular stuff that a lady has to deal with. Uh, so I was actually really surprised to learn that this film was incredibly poorly reviewed when it came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, it has a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes from critical feedback, and yeah, people did
Probably
not
that
like
probably
did
that
not
guy
like it.
from the trivia guy.
Yeah, Roger Ebert.
Yeah, it's probably him.
Yeah, he didn't like it. Entertainment Weekly didn't like it. Like nobody. I mean, only 20% of people liked the critics. I mean, people. Obviously, it has a more popular cult following today, and I'm sure plenty of people who saw it in the time were like, "I liked this."
Right.
Um, so, also, as we learned is standard for 90s witch movies from our The Craft episode, they did have a witch consultant on this
Yeah.
movie. So Griffin Dunn, the director, brought her in through a mutual friend, but they did not have as good of a time with their
Oh no.
witch consultant. Apparently, she was upset about what her compensation was and was asking for like percentages from the movie and extra payment. And it escalated to the point that she both sued the studio and put a curse on the director,
Womp womp.
which is pretty it's tough to double up. But I'm also like, do you not have a lot of faith in your curse then, ma'am? Like if you also want to sue?
I well, I don't know that the curse wouldn't get her any money though.
This
That's
is a
just
fair
a
point.
personal
That's
vendetta.
true. That is
I
just the personal beef.
I would love to know what happened to that director.
Well,
Was the curse successful?
so the studio ended up paying some kind of out of court settlement to just kind of kill this stuff. And Griffin, the director, said that he got what he describes as an exorcism, like just to be careful. It sounds like kind of a general like cleansing,
An energy
smudging type
cleanse?
of thing. He said there was like smoke and stuff. And it's funny because he has said in like many interviews that he isn't like, he was like, I'm not really interested in witches, but like I thought this was like a really cool story about like strong women and wanted to do it. And so the interviewer in like the article I was reading was like, "Oh, so you don't believe in this, but you got like
But you
a
will capitalize
cleansing
on it. Yeah.
anyway." And he like he gave a quote where he was just like, "If you're generally like a person who believes in anything spiritual and open-minded, then I feel like you got to be open-minded about the other stuff that you don't necessarily believe in." So I was like, better be careful.
I'm also curious, did she announce? Was she like, I've cursed you?
She called him
Oh,
and
pff,
was like,
that's
so
petty as hell. I love
So,
that.
so I think she had called him to yell at him, and it was when the studio called her to be like, "Hey, like we're not paying you, like chill out." She was like, "I'm putting a curse on Griffin, and I'm hexing this movie." So, there, Griffin thinks that he's like, "Well, maybe people didn't like this movie because it was hexed."
That's funny. I mean, I just feel like personally, if I'm going to, put some energy on someone in a malicious sense, announcing it kind of maybe takes away from the power of it. Like, because yeah, then you can just go like do a return to sender, do a cleanse. Like, I feel like if she really wanted to get him, she could have just don't say anything.
Just don't say it. just keep it on the DL. Anyway, so he's fine. He's still kicking. It worked out for him. Uh, but so one of the things that I thought was interesting in a lot of these reviews is that they call out the movie as being tonally inconsistent, which I can't super disagree with because
Yeah.
like there's a lot of very dark elements. Like there's murder and being possessed by a guy that you murdered and being investigated for your murder. Um, but it's also very much about understanding your own magic and having your cute small business and drinking midnight margaritas.
That's kind of what I like about it though, is that it is like really fun and light, but also deals with some really complex things, which I
Mhm.
think I don't know, in my head that's what good film does. Not saying this is like a critically acclaimed, like
Yeah.
well thought out script, but like I do think honestly, the Midnight Margarita scene is one of my favorite scenes in the film because it does go from this like really high camp, like ridiculous fun, like thing that would never happen in real life probably. And then when it takes that sharp left turn out of
Hmm.
nowhere, it's really jarring in a, I think, effective way. So I don't know. I definitely agree with the sentiment, but I don't think it's to the like I think it's almost to the betterment of the movie, not so much the hindrance.
Yeah, and I think,
Personal
I don't
opinion.
know, for me, I feel like some of it is just kind of comes from this expectation that like a movie is only one thing,
Right.
or that like something that's lighthearted can't have any moments of darkness. And I think that obviously, you and I would say are pretty bright and lighthearted vibes, but with an interest in the dark and macabre, and you get a
Mhm.
little bit of that sprinkled in, and it is like it adds flavor. It makes things feel, like you've got the full breadth of the experience going on.
Yeah, it makes it feel honest because life isn't all sunshine and roses, even when you're a witch.
Even when you're a witch. And I mean, and I think that a lot of us who love this movie really relate and appreciate like the themes of like women and sisterhood in this
Hmm.
movie. Like we've got obviously the aunts, you've got Jillian and Sally, you've got Jillian's daughters, and then you even pull in at the very end, these women of the town who have been kind of judgmental, but you are like, you know what, when the chips are down, you sometimes you gotta knuckle down and join up with some witches and just make some sweet lady magic happen.
Yeah. The one that is now bringing to mind the one part of the film that I feel like is the most tonally inconsistent
Hmm.
is the very end when like he turns to dust and then it's like this horribly dramatic, like they don't know if Nicole Kidman is like even alive, and then they're all just like, "Sweep him out, lady."
Yes. Sweep it out.
I mean, I love it, but it is a really like, what did I just watch? What
I
happened?
know. Oh
Because
my
that the
goodness.
whole exorcism scene is so dark.
Yeah, yeah, it's really dark and intense, but it is, I mean, in the same way we were just saying, you come from this dark and intense moment, and then you're like, all right, it's over. We gotta clean up. Like, we
Yep, get it out.
get it out. And yeah, it's just very good. And I was surprised while researching this to see that it was directed by a man, just
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of movies written or directed by men about women have some fundamental misunderstandings of what
Hmm.
women and their relationships are like. And this one just has always felt like very, very true to me in my experience of being someone with a sister and with, close female friendships.
And maybe that stems from the fact that the book itself is written by a woman.
Yeah. Hmm.
That the storyline was already there,
Yeah.
and built out by a feminine presence. So I'm sure that helped. But yeah. As a rule, female stories told by men tend to not quite capture the experience.
Yeah, they get a little weird. Um, but I think we cannot talk about this movie without talking about one of the major reasons for its enduring appeal, which is the design and
Hmm.
the vibes of the movie. And the production designer was Robin Standeffer, who also did production design for Goodfellas and Zoolander, which I love because, like,
I
if
mean,
you
high
think about it,
aesthetic.
like, Zoolander is an extremely aesthetic movie.
Yeah, it's very high aesthetic.
But the thing that I super love reading about this, and I ended up like digging a little deeper into her, is so she, was a production designer, and she actually met her husband, who is also like a design and architecture guy in the movies, and they worked together on a lot of movies. And the stars like loved the set so much that they would be like, "Can you do my house?" And they actually left production design and started a design firm that is like still
Oh,
going strong today, and they like designed one of the galleries at the Met in New York and stuff.
that's
So
cool.
they're kicking it. So the house is so iconic, and oh my gosh, the disappointment when you find out that it's not a real house.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
the heartbreak. So yeah, Robin designed the house, and her husband Stephen was the architectural consultant on the film. It was inspired by East Coast lighthouses and Victorian homes. I definitely was thinking about your spooky house
I was
episode.
literally just about to bring that up because
Yes.
it's a cool thing that even though the tone of the film is really light and like overall they are quote good witches, like
Mm-hmm.
they really still gave that haunted house, but like make it bright
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's got
look.
the widow's walk and the
Yeah,
tower
and
and
the
so many of kind
little
of the
mansard roof on the
yes,
tower.
all those iconic elements that you talked about in there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I see it."
Mm-hmm.
So they did build a like it was referred to as an architectural shell of it. It was built on San Juan Island in Washington for the exterior shots, and apparently Barbara Streisand called Robin and her husband and was like, "Where's this house? I want to buy it." And they had
I
to tell her that it did not exist.
Nothing has ever made my heart happier than that sentence you just said.
I know,
I
right?
didn't know that, and anyone who knows me personally and knows anything about me, I am obsessed with Babs. I have literally her entire like discography on vinyl was the first thing I collected when I started collecting vinyl.
Oh.
I
See, I
used
did
to
not
like
know this about you. I didn't know
I
you were such a Babs stan.
Yeah, I used to like I bought one of these ridiculous hats at a thrift store when I was a kid, and I used to like put on performances of Hello Dolly in my bedroom,
Amazing.
like but
Oh,
as Barbara. Like yeah, I um
well,
that's incredible.
she's one of us. She wants to
One
live in the
of
practical
us.
magic
One
house.
of That doesn't surprise me at all. I know for a fact Babs is a witch. I know that in my heart.
Oh my goodness.
That's
And
why
yeah,
she still looks so good at
she
78 or
does.
however old
Oh
she
my gosh,
is.
she's so lovely. Um, and then the interiors were built on sound stages, but so stunning. Like that kitchen is such a dream.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness,
And it's
that.
very much, I feel like this is the, whether or not that's accurate and I'm just blowing smoke out my butt. But I do feel like this is kind of the precipice of the Whimsigoth like
Yes, for sure.
style movement that happened in the 90s. I mean, not just this film. It was there was lots of stuff
Oh
happening,
yeah, it
but
was. This film was very emblematic of it.
yes. This is the one of the top things I think of when I think of that style, and um, I love that it kind of has that like what do they call it? Like coastal grandma, like
Yes.
chic, but in a really bohemian witchy way. I don't know what I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty. That
It
kitchen is to
is.
die
The
for.
kitchen is so stunning. Or even like I think of like Sally's shop is
Oh
just
yes,
like
so
so clean and
coastal.
beautiful. Although I do kind of like look at that and I mean I appreciate it, but I'm like, if everyone in this town hates you, is like entrepreneurship really your best
Yeah, like
bet?
maybe we just head out. Maybe we just go elsewhere, possibly.
Yeah. But I mean, the people, they are judgmental, but they want their magic creams. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the real lesson there.
Yeah, ain't that just the way?
Ain't that just the way?
Also, the two women who work in her shop, icons.
Yes, they're so good.
I can't think of that. Oh my gosh, what is the actress's name? Margot Martindale.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
that plays like everyone's mom and everything. I love her so much. I was so happy she's
Yes.
in that.
Oh my gosh. It's just such a fun movie. It just makes me smile every time I watch it. It's definitely one of my like cozy movies
Hmm.
that I can just put on. It's an excellent movie for doing like crafts too.
And the soundtrack.
Yes.
The soundtrack is so beautiful. I was really happy. I think you brought this up at the beginning of the episode. Just the was it Practical Magic
Practical Magic Summer.
Summer? Was it spring or
Mhm.
summer last year? Um just like hearing the theme on my TikTok for
Yes.
like 2 weeks straight was one of the high points of 2022. Uh, I really I don't know how to articulate what that style of music is, but it's very whimsical,
It
and it's
is.
like very. It sounds like magic if magic were music.
Yeah, it's very it lightens your spirit.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a fave for me, and I would say even though I am not a witch or a magical type of lady, I am definitely all about having, your kind of thoughtful, intentional life, celebrating small moments of magic like midnight margaritas with your besties. So I am definitely planning on having another practical magic summer this year, and I hope that some of you will join us and keep the energy going.
Yes, and plant rosemary by your gate.
Always.
Always toss salt over your
For your
left shoulder.
shoulder.
Can I do a quick, small business plug since we're talking about
Yes,
this?
of course.
A shop that you actually, I think,
Oh,
originally
yes, I know
introduced
what
me
you're gonna
to,
say.
Evercrumbly and Witch, does
Yes.
I think they do it from what I've seen. I've been following them for like 3 years now, and it seems like they do it every October. They re-release their Practical Magic witch hat, and it's like the official, like it looks like the Owens sisters hat
Yes,
from
it's
the
so pretty.
last scene where they jump off the roof. Um, and it's really beautiful. Penny owns at least one, maybe more of their hats, correct?
Yeah, I have one. I have, my purple,
That
which
purple
my purple
one.
floral one. Every time I see their hats in my feed, I'm like, "I need another one of
Yeah, well, and they're
these."
really, I mean, looks
So
like
beautiful,
they're
so well made.
well made was what I was, yeah, leading
Yeah.
up to there is I don't own one personally, but I've seen yours and I know Chelsea owns several, and like they're really, really like artistically made.
Yes.
Like it's not just somebody gluing like flowers on a witch hat. It's
Yeah, yeah,
really like
full
a
millinery
full
experience.
milliners, yeah. So check them out on Instagram, and follow them. And if you want a great practical magic hat, it's worth your dollar.
Agreed. Yeah, that is my practical magic. I thought that we should do something a little fun for spring, and since I've been telling you about corpses a lot lately,
I literally was like trying to prep an episode for today, and I started mine. I was like, we gotta do something light here because we've
we
been
gotta
talking a lot about death lately.
we really have. That's the winter. The winter was bringing all the death on, and now spring is
And
coming.
now it's
Hopefully, it
spring.
still keeps snowing in Wisconsin, but eventually, it'll be spring, and it'll be time for frolicking
It'll
around and
be time for
margaritas.
practical magic summer and margaritas.
Yes,
I also
please.
I never know when to shut up, but I also found
No, do it.
a sticker on Etsy that is a little like decal for your rear view mirror in your car that says the belladonna is in my bag, and I
Oh
want it
my gosh, I
really,
love
really
that.
bad because I you and I are both that way. I love like a subtle film
Mhm.
reference that isn't like Spirit Halloween printing hocus pocus
Oh my
across
god, right. Okay, this is since we're talking about side tangents, I had seen some people complaining about, that and, like, the Spirit
Mhm.
Halloween and, like, the fact that, like, "Oh, yeah, they'll probably make Wednesday merch, but it'll say Wednesday over everything."
Right.
And that has been my biggest pet peeve ever since I was a child. Like,
Mm.
I remember wanting a Disney princess dress as a kid, but, like, the dresses would have the
The
princess's face
picture.
printed
Yep.
on it, and I was like, "No, I do not want a dress with, like, Sleeping Beauty's face on it. In this moment, I am Sleeping Beauty. You
Yeah.
are ruining my immersion in this experience."
You said, "My drag is good enough that you'll know who the hell I am."
Hell yeah. But
I don't
yes,
need
I
a
have I have
picture.
always I have always hated the, like, need to put that, and also, as someone who worked in marketing for many years, I am always distraught at people's desire to just slap their logo on things as large as
Yeah.
possible, and I'm like, "No, you're ruining it. Why are you doing this?"
Speaking
So
of
I am
which, you can
definite
buy Ghouls Night in Pod merch with our logo slapped across it. Um, well, with that being said, one of my friends put together a really good little Etsy shopping list of cute practical magic things you can buy that don't have the words practical magic
Hey.
slapped across them. So I will find that and we can share it
Yeah,
maybe in the
for sure.
stories over on the Instagram when this episode goes live.
Yes, and I know, that, Spooky Little Halloween had a guide to having a practical magic summer that she posted last year, so
Yes,
maybe
I
we
forgot
can
about that.
dig that up as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. If you love practical magic, please do give us a comment and let us know. And if you have not watched it, there's no shame in that. Sometimes you get in life and you're like, oh, I turned out I've never seen this. This is a great opportunity to watch it.
A lot of movies out there. It's hard to watch them all.
It's true. So give it a watch and enjoy it and let us know what you think. We would also love to know what you think about our podcast. We love to have new reviews and read them on the episodes. And today we do not have any reviews to read, which is terribly sad. So if you are listening, we do appreciate it so much. If you could take the moment to leave us a 5-star review and we will read it here. Otherwise, if you want to stick around and find out more about the show, you can follow us on Instagram at Ghouls Night In Pod. And you can find me at Penny Snark on all the things.
And you can find me across all platforms at Midge Munster.
And until next time,
Good.
bye.